Karibu, Africa. Welcome to Africa. Thank you all for being here this evening. This is a wonderful occasion. Welcome to the 31st International Congress for Conservation Biology in Kigali, Rwanda. We're grateful for you being here. We hope you had a great and wonderful time already, and we hope you're going to have even fantastic time being here in Africa, the cradle of humankind. Before we move on, we want to also appreciate our sponsors. We have a total about 25 exhibitors and sponsors who have contributed to make this day and this occasion to be a success. Particularly, we're so grateful to the Wildlife Conservation Society, the Rainforest XPRIZE, and Africa Biodiversity Collaborative Group. We also appreciate ESRI, the Malaysian Palm Oil Grain Conservation Foundation, Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund, and the International Union for Conservation of Nature. These are our golden monkey and silverback gorilla sponsors. In addition, we also thank the Nashville Zoo, the Denver Zoo, the Forest Partners International, the Empel Foundation, and the Center of Excellence in Biodiversity and Natural Resources Management of the University of Rwanda. Their support made this Congress a huge success, and in case you're wondering, these are the people who sponsored and supported for us to be able to bring over 100 African early career and students through sponsoring and supporting their travel grants, reducing their cost of registration and in other logistics. These are really, really wonderful people, and we really appreciate them. Let's give them a round of applause. Last but not the least, we want to offer our gratitude and appreciation to the Ministry of Environment of the Republic of Rwanda. They are not just partners, they are our co-hosts. They are hosting us here today. And of course, we have with us the Minister herself, gracing the occasion. We are so grateful for you being here. As co-host of ICCB, they made us feel so welcome, and we believe that they are a true partner in their mission to conserve and responsibly protect biodiversity in Rwanda and beyond. Thank you so much. This is the 31st International Congress for Conservation Biology. It all started in 1987 in Bozeman, Montana, where the very first ICCB was held, hosted by the Montana State University, which so coincidentally happens to be the institution where I'm an assistant professor as well. And from there, through many years, it's been an annual event, and after many years, we turned it to become a biannual event so as to give room and strengthen relationships in sections and regions, particularly that are hosting their events as well. And so we're so excited that the very first ICCB to be hosted in Africa was hosted in Nelson Mandela University, Port Elizabeth, South Africa in 2007. And now we are here back in the cradle of mankind, where we are celebrating the beauty of nature and working together to conserve biodiversity in the 31st ICCB in Africa. I believe that deserves a round of applause. ICCB is a gathering of all conservation experts, professionals to address conservation challenges, provide opportunities for networking with the global conservation community. We've had attendance range between 1,500 to 2,000 or 2,200 participants in our meetings. Participants include professors, but not only that, we have conservation NGOs, really important key players in the conservation. And we've had students, we've had government officials, managers, conservation managers, and it's not just about biologists, we have conservation scientists, we have psychologists, we have even environmental lawyers in our midst. So it's not just about biologists, it's a group of, it's multidisciplinary. And we celebrate that diversity even in our discipline as well, as much as we celebrate diversity in the field of conservation as, in general. And so, that gives you a little bit of the history of ICCB. I'm so glad, so happy to be one of the people hosting this meeting. By the way, in case you're wondering, my name is Israel Borokini, and I'm the immediate past president of SCB Africa region. And so I want to appreciate everyone here who have supported the effort to bring ICCB to Africa. It was a tough journey. It was a lot of debate. It was a lot of conversations and a lot of negotiation. And finally, we have it here. I am the happiest human being here today. While passing on a lot of appreciation, we also want to appreciate, I'm sure you're going to give a huge applause to the drummers, the Kirenga Cultural Troupe. These guys are amazing. We hope this is going to be a great meeting for you all. This is an opportunity for you to engage, to network, to share your knowledge, and to learn from others as well. Standing in front of you here, you might wonder, and I'm speaking to a selected group of people, perhaps, I'm an introvert. I'm a little bit shy, but I've been able to break out of my shell and out of my comfort zone to interact with people, to stand here. And so, don't give me that shy excuse. Engage with people, interact with other people. It is not the organizers that make a meeting great, it is the people who are here that makes a conference wonderful. So everyone, we have to participate and engage and network with one another. Now let's move on. Having given that wonderful exhortation, let's move on. I would like to introduce the safety officer for ICCB 2023. Our safety officer is Ms. Flo Mwashimba. Ms. Flo? There she is, on your right, my left. Ms. Flo, our details is on the screen for you to see. Please, if you have any concerns, any questions, please feel free to email her or to contact her. She will be happy to support you. We want to make this meeting very inclusive. We want to make this meeting safe. We want to make this meeting enjoyable, and she is going to help us do that, and everyone here is going to help us do that. So if you have any concern, please reach out to Ms. Flo. We're going to be announcing and introducing her at the beginning of the plenary session every day. Right now, we're going to watch a small video to welcome you to Rwanda, if the God of technology makes it happen.
My job, I enjoy it very much. My contribution in conservation, it's something that makes me proud. Working with rangers and patrols, with the guides, with animal trackers. This is the best office in the world.
the growth of the country and the energy, it's almost duplicated in any other sphere of the society. So like coffee shops, art centers, you feel that energy. The energy, the creativity is part of the whole fabric of society right now. It's a vibe.
I'm trying to push the boundaries of things which are made in Rwanda, taking the inspiration from what we have traditionally, but make them more modern. My inspiration for my designs, the colorful patterns all over Rwanda and our tradition too. I love to go in the market and just watch people how they combine colors. It's beautiful.
Nyungwe National Park is a mountain rainforest. It's a park rich in biodiversity. We have 13 species of primates, more than 300 species of birds, and it's where we have the farthest source of the Nile. There is something special that we need to protect.
I'm proud of my country because the resilience and willingness to work hard, to learn from each other. Together, we'll go further than if we work individually. What's unique about Rwandan coffee is the altitude, the environment makes a huge difference. You get that smooth, refreshing taste. And we have won numerous awards.
The past has a big influence also to how I see Rwanda. For example, I use Intore, the traditional dancers. It's beautiful and it's graceful. So that's what I wanted to explain it in my clothes. It's graceful but strong at the same time.
There's a word that we use called agaciro. Agaciro means the idea of self-worth, self-respect, and it translates in everything that we do.
Agaciro means the dignity of Rwandans. Working together, put efforts together, it makes me proud to be Rwandan.
Agaciro for me, it's a very powerful word which has so much meaning. Be grateful, be respectful, be resilient, be an example. There is a new change, there is a new Rwanda being created, and I'm part of it.
There's an energy that's out there, welcoming every single person. Come visit Rwanda, walk the street, talk to the people. You'll be amazed what you discover.
Rwanda is a land of dream.
Before I introduce the next speaker to come up stage, I would like to properly acknowledge our safety officer. She has a background in anthropology and marketing, as well as project management. So she possesses a unique blend of academic knowledge, practical experience in driving positive change within communities. Basically, she's a people person. That's what that means. She's the founder of Kigali Farmers and Artisans Market and Pima Zero Waste Shop in Rwanda. Thank you so much, Flo. Right now, I'm going to invite my friend, my brother, who is also my successor, the president of SCB Africa Region, Mwezi Badru Mugawa.
Thanks. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the ICCB 2023. As rightly introduced, my name is Mwezi Badru Mugawa, and I'm the president for the SCB Africa region. So, the Minister of Environment, distinguished delegates, the ICCB community, and children, as the chair of the 31st International Congress for Conservation Biology, ICCB 2023, and the president of the Society for Conservation Biology, Africa region, I am delighted and honored to welcome you to the ICCB 2023 on African soil. We are very grateful to the government of Rwanda, the Rwandan Ministry of Environment, the Rwanda Conversions Bureau, and the people of Rwanda in general for hosting this milestone Congress and for their warmest welcome and generous hospitality. Thank you, we appreciate it. We also wish to thank the SCB Global Services team, commitment, and their exceptional work in organizing the ICCB 2023. As Israel has mentioned already, this has been a lot of work, a 5-year ongoing project to get you here in Kigali. So we are really excited that we have achieved that goal to bring you all here. We thank all our sponsors. It's a long list, as Israel mentioned earlier on, but special thanks to our Golden Monkey sponsors, the African Biodiversity Collaborative Group, or ABCG. I can see the director in the crowd. The Wildlife Conservation Society. We thank Professor Beth Kaplan and her team at the Center of Excellence in Biodiversity and Natural Resource Management of the University of Rwanda for being part of the ICCB journey and community from the beginning. We thank the Steering Committee of the ICCB 2023, the Scientific Program Committee, the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion and Justice Committee, the army of volunteers who reviewed all the gazillion abstracts we received as part of the contributions to this Congress. We really appreciate you. We thank the Board of Directors of the ACB Africa region who have supported and contributed their time and energy to the ICCB from the beginning. And of course, we thank you, the 1,190 delegates who registered to attend the ICCB 2023, representing close to 100 countries. Thank you. And we thank you for your contributions, for your expertise and knowledge to the ICCB. The voice of today's science on biodiversity conservation could not be sharper, stronger, and more sobering, because we are losing biodiversity at alarming rates. The future for our collective action to generate and share the science of conservation is now, right now, today in this room. We are excited to host the ICCB in Africa for the first time in more than 15 years, a unique opportunity to bring you all here to share your latest research findings in conservation and practice, particularly through the African lens. The ICCB 2023 is also about inspiring the future generations of African conservationists whom we need to conserve Africa's biodiversity. You may have seen already in the program our exciting STEM event, through which we hope to inspire Rwandan students aged between 11 and 18 into the field and profession of conservation science and practice. Before closing my opening remarks, I am honored to invite the past president of the ACB and a senior scientist from the WCS, Dr. Tony Lynham, to share his thoughts on the ICCB. Thank you very much.
Jioni Njema na karibu. Welcome, everyone. My name is Anthony Lynham, Honourable Minister of the Environment, esteemed members of the Board of the Society for Conservation Biology, delegates of the International Congress for Conservation Biology. Thank you for making the journey to Kigali. We're thrilled to have more than 1,200 participants from more than 90 countries here for the 31st ICCB, organized under the theme, The Future is Now, Sustaining Biodiversity for Today and Tomorrow. Firstly, I'd like to welcome old and new members of the Society for Conservation Biology. SCB has played a pivotal role in supporting tens of thousands of scientists, practitioners, and students and the work that they do around the world since 1985. May I ask, how many of you are members of SCB? Please raise your hands. Wow, that's fantastic. And how many of you are part of an SCB chapter or a working group? Wow, that's great. And how many of you are joining your first International Conservation Science Congress here at ICCB? Many of you. That's also really encouraging. Well, SCB was first established in response to the emergence of conservation as a crisis discipline. 4 decades later, as we gather here, the planet is rapidly changing. There is an urgent need for us to discuss the challenges facing biodiversity and human life, from climate change, biodiversity loss, pandemics, wildlife trade, changes in food production systems, and the need for collaborating with Indigenous groups and communities to secure valued natural resources. It's for these reasons that over the past 4 years, SCB has implemented a transformation that aims to create a truly global collaborative network, uniting members across 6 regions and providing them the support they need to meet the challenges facing us ahead. We call this transformation Vision 2026. And by supporting members in local chapters, a Marine Global Program, and thematic working groups, SCB has nurtured a diverse community, all with a common goal to advance the science and practice of saving the Earth's biodiversity. Choosing Rwanda as the venue for ICCB is more than just a coincidence. This nation is one of the world's global hotspots for biodiversity and an important place for Indigenous human cultures, making it a fitting backdrop for our discussions. ICCB represents a golden opportunity for learning, sharing knowledge, exchanging conservation best practices, and fostering invaluable networking connections. By connecting like-minded individuals from various corners of Africa and the world, we enhance our collective ability to face the challenges that lie ahead. SCB is committed to improving the inclusivity in conservation science and practice. We embrace the diversity of disciplines within the realm of conservation: genetics, social science, conservation technology, freshwater ecosystems, participatory and citizen science, behavior, marketing, religion, and more, ensuring that every voice is heard and valued. This diversity of perspectives enriches our understanding and paves the way for more effective solutions. Disseminating and sharing the results of conservation practice is critical to ensuring policy and actions are made based on the best available science and evidence. So to facilitate this, SCB publishes 3 high-quality journals: Conservation Biology, Conservation Science and Practice, and Conservation Letters. And we have a partnership with Current Conservation, where you can publish your stories about conservation. There are discounts for SCB members to publish, and there are some waivers available for page charges for authors from African countries. If you'd like to find out more about our journals and how you can publish in our journals, there are workshops on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and you can visit the SCB booth. And also you can meet our journal editors who are here, and you can speak with them. Now, in my capacity as staff of the Wildlife Conservation Society, I wanted to say that we're very proud to be a major sponsor of this ICCB. WCS has a field presence across 50 countries, where we work across a portfolio of global strongholds to prevent the loss and extinction of species and to restore and recover nature. The WCS mission is to save wildlife and wild places, and we do this through science, conservation action, education, and inspiring people. And this aligns perfectly with the values SCB and its members hold dearly. WCS has brought more than 70 dedicated staff members and experts from around Africa and the world here to Kigali, and we're eager to share our knowledge and stories from the front line of conservation efforts. Many of our staff will be presenting at our conservation conference here for the first time, so please welcome them. WCS wishes to thank the Osborne Memorial Lecture Fund for making our presence here and support for ICCB possible. And I would like to extend a special thanks to our Director of Rights and Communities, Dr. Michelle Wieland, and Angelique Kubwimana, and our interns for organizing the logistics of getting everyone here registered and housed. Thank you so much. Now, before I conclude, I must express our deepest gratitude to the Rwanda Conventions Board and the government of Rwanda, and to SCB Africa for hosting us here, and to the ICCB Steering Committee, to Planet Swiss, and the SCB Global Services team for their unwavering commitment and exceptional work in organizing this conference. Without their efforts, this gathering of passionate conservationists would not have been possible. To all the delegates present here, I wish you a truly wonderful experience throughout your time in Kigali. Learn as much as you can while you're here and take home the knowledge to share and use in making conservation impact in your countries. May our shared dedication to protecting Earth's biodiversity continue to ignite positive change one step at a time. So thank you, and let us make ICCB 2023 a resounding success. And now I'd like to invite the incoming president of the Society for Conservation Biology, Dr. Vanessa Adams, to the podium. Vanessa?
How good is it to be here in Rwanda together? Yeah? I'm Vanessa Adams, incoming president. Absolute pleasure that one of my first formal duties is that I'm on stage looking out at all of you in person, welcoming you to ICCB 2023. It's been a long road getting here. We began these conversations of site selection for our Africa destination in 2019, but of course then we all experienced a global pandemic and it took us a longer time to get here. So it's been an absolute testament that we are all here together, that our organizing committee made it through a 4-year process. And it's all the sweeter that across those 4 years we've made it, and we're here together to have conversations, to get to know one another, and of course to go outside and enjoy some of those amazing places that we've just seen that are full of the biodiversity that we're also passionate about conserving. So I hope you make the most of your time together, because it's such a pleasure to be back in person together. And it is an absolute privilege that I'm up here to introduce Dr. Jean-D'Arc Mujawa-Maria, Minister of the Environment of the Republic of Rwanda, to formally open the conference. Dr. Jean-D'Arc Mujawa-Maria was appointed to her role in November 2019. Prior to that, she served as Ambassador of Rwanda and Russia from 2013 and Director of Kigali Institute of Science and Technology, KIST, from 2011 to 2013. She has also served as Rwanda's Minister of Gender and Family Promotion, Minister of Education, Minister of State in charge of Higher Education, and Minister of State in charge of Primary and Secondary Education in the Ministry of Education, Science, Technology, and Scientific Research. She holds a PhD in Physical Chemistry from the Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Roorkee, India, and is passionate about environment conservation and efficient natural resource development to achieve sustainable development and green growth for Rwanda's socioeconomic transformation. And so I ask you to join me in welcoming Dr. Mujawa-Maria to the stage to open our conference.
Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, distinguished guests, friends of the environment, all protocol observed, good evening, bonsoir, mwiriwe neza. It is my great pleasure and immense pride to welcome you all to the 31st International Congress for Conservation Biology. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you to the Republic of Rwanda for this esteemed Congress. Welcome to Rwanda. We are honored to host this gathering of brilliant minds and passionate advocates for the cause of biological conservation. As we gather here today, let us be reminded of the profound importance of protecting and preserving our planet's rich biodiversity. Our natural world, with its web of life and interdependent ecosystems, is an invaluable treasure that we must safeguard for generations to come. It is the very foundation of our existence and the well-being of all living beings. Over the last 3 decades, Rwanda has made significant strides in protecting and restoring our diverse ecosystems. First and foremost, Rwanda has embarked on massive tree planting and reforestation, and in early 2019, Rwanda reached its goal of increasing forest cover to 30.4% of all land area. In other parts of the country, the forest sector has contributed to the reduction of land degradation, erosion control, and the reduction of intensity of landslides and floods in some areas. However, much more needs to be done for sustainability. Secondly, efforts were put in protection and the restoration of degraded ecosystems such as wetlands, lakes, and natural forests. Natural forests such as Nyungwe, Gishwati, and Mukura have been restored and designated national parks. Lastly, Rwanda actively participates in global initiatives, collaborates with international partners, and contributes to the collective efforts to address the urgent challenges of biodiversity loss and climate change. Rwanda has submitted bold commitments in the line with the post-2020 Global Diversity Framework. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this conference provides us with an invaluable platform to share experiences, exchange knowledge, and engage in meaningful discussions. It is an opportunity for all of us to learn from one another, harness the power of innovation, and explore new pathways toward a more sustainable future, the future we want. Together, we can develop solutions that balance the needs of both humans and nature and ensure the long-term resilience of our ecosystems. I encourage each and everyone to seize this occasion, to forge new collaborations, nurture existing partnerships, and drive transformative change. As he was saying, networking. Let us inspire one another with our passion, expertise, and determination to safeguard our biological heritage. By working hand in hand, we can create a world where biodiversity thrives, where ecosystems flourish, and where humanity and nature coexist in harmony. As we embark on this remarkable journey of the ICCB 2023, I extend my sincerest wishes for fruitful discussions, enlightening interactions, and the forging of lifelong connections. May our collective efforts and unwavering commitment pave the way for a brighter and more sustainable future for our planet and all its inhabitants. I wish you all a memorable and impactful conference and hope you will take time to visit the many places of natural beauty all across Rwanda during your stay with us. I think this video you have seen has not shown you the best of our country. So don't leave without visiting Rwanda, because Kigali is not Rwanda. Rwanda means the universe. So please take your time after 27 and take your vacation in Rwanda. You will see how Rwanda can do much with little, how Rwanda can fix its biodiversity, and together we can have the planet we need. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Minister Muwa Maria. Thank you so much. And speaking of partnership and solidifying relationships, I want to use this opportunity to let you know that we have an application in the Ministry of Environment for SCB Africa region to be officially registered as an NGO to solidify that relationship with the Ministry of Environment. And we will be so delighted to have you approve that application. Thank you very much. Have we have enough of the drummers? No. Let's have. I was just told that that application has just been signed. Wow, what a coincidence. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Really appreciate that. The registration of SCB Africa region in Africa officially, that's the first, the historic record, which actually brings SCB closer to the grassroots so that members don't have to be paying $45 just in bank transaction fees just to pay $20 registration for membership. And also to make sure that members are more engaged. And being in Rwanda means that we'll be able to engage even more fully with the government and other NGOs around here. Rwanda is blessed to have SCB Africa region here. Thank you so much. As I was asking, have we had enough of the drummers? Let's have 3 more minutes of presentation by the drummers. big hand. The Kirenga Cultural Troupe. That's amazing. Thank you so much. As we wrap up this opening ceremony, we have two big events that we want to feature here. The first of them is the Rainforest XPRIZE Awards Program. The Rainforest XPRIZE Award Program will make an announcement of the finalists and the role of conservation technology to conserve biodiversity in the rainforest. And I have the privilege and the opportunity to welcome upstage the Executive Vice President, Biodiversity and Conservation for Rainforest XPRIZE, Dr. Peter Julian. Peter is a tropical ecologist, conservation scientist, and expedition operations specialist. He's also a National Geographic explorer and photographer and an adjunct professor at Johns Hopkins and UCLA. He established the biodiversity and conservation domain at XPRIZE and oversee prize competitions to incentivize innovative solutions for rainforest biodiversity monitoring, fighting destructive wildfires, coral reef restoration, and alternative proteins. Today, Peter will give a talk titled The Future of Technology for Biodiversity, and he will share an exciting announcement about the competitors in XPRIZE Rainforest. Peter.
We don't have, oh, there we go. Asante sana and karibuni. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. Thank you, Minister. Thank you to SCB for hosting this wonderful gathering and spending the past 4 years to get us all back in person here. I couldn't think of a better place for so many reasons that the speakers already outlined here in Rwanda for ICCB. Certainly, Rwanda being an epicenter of biodiversity in so many ways, and also situated in such a central area amongst the Great Lakes in Africa, at the headwaters of both the Congo Basin and the Nile. And in the middle of all of this, I think it's a truly special place where from here, so much life flows across the continent. And so many people out here today, I think as I get to speaking about our finalists and those awards for XPRIZE Rainforest, I think those teams all come from this community who in so many ways are heroes in terms of working and dedicating lives to protect the planet. And certainly the complexity of tropical rainforests around the world, especially in many parts of Africa, harbor amazing biodiversity, and the theme of this Congress also couldn't be more appropriate in terms of sustaining biodiversity for today and tomorrow. Of course, so many people here throughout this week are going to be sharing amazing talks and presentations and about the work that they're doing in conservation biology around the world, and especially here in Africa. And I want to echo some of the points already made about collaboration and partnership. I think this theme for today is so critical because it focuses on time. For the past half century, so many of the realities that we face today, and certainly with biodiversity loss, were long predicted, and that future is truly now. And it's important in terms of understanding biodiversity to inform so many of the, you liked that one, didn't you? We need to have these understandings of biodiversity to inform policy and management. And as the Minister pointed out, Rwanda's leadership in achieving 30 by 30 comes from those aspects of understanding the data and protecting those areas. So congratulations again on that. Of course, we talk about biodiversity in such a way where I think much of the world doesn't recognize the fact that our singular species has been contributing to the demise of most species on the planet. And what does that fate ultimately mean for Homo sapiens? I think it's pretty much in line with what is going on with the rest of the species on the planet and critical to the livelihoods of people around the world. And as the saying goes, if we nurture nature, nature nurtures us. And so certainly that is not what we have been doing, and I don't want to dwell on the realities that everybody here is very familiar with. But the change in our planet over the past few decades certainly is not sustainable, from the amount of logging and mining, agriculture, wildlife trafficking and pet trade, and poaching. We've arrived at a planet that is out of balance. And for us to sustain biodiversity for today and tomorrow is also intricately linked to our future. And so that future is now. This was one of the last images that I took. This was the first week of March in 2020, south of here in Mahale Mountains National Park on the shores of Lake Tanganyika. And I think the reality of what transpired globally since then is a fate that we can't refuse to take on the responsibility together, collectively, to come up with more rapid and effective solutions for the entire planet. As the minister mentioned, in the end of last year, finally this issue of biodiversity loss has risen to global levels, and 30 by 30 was integrated into the global biodiversity framework. It also put out audacious goals for the world to seek to achieve, which requires all of our research, conservation, science, data, and collaboration. But it really requires the willingness, like the minister, to come together and actually make change in the amount of time that's necessary for success. So there is a path ahead. I'm optimistic about that, but it is a narrow one. Because that future is now, I think the way in which conservation has been done in so many ways needs to be transformed for the years ahead. And speaking of tropical rainforests, our XPRIZE Rainforest competition has been focused entirely on these issues of how can we improve the speed at which we're able to document biodiversity, collect data, and analyze data over these vast ecosystems that, of course, we have great understandings in many places, but we still require more information and also more collaboration and partnership with those who harbor that knowledge, particularly indigenous communities. Representing only a few % of the land surface, tropical rainforests hold about half of all species on Earth. And that is why we chose to focus on this environment. And I'm going to share some images as well about a world in which I think everybody here is familiar in fieldwork. One of the reasons we launched this prize is because of the time and labor-intensive nature of fieldwork. I think everybody here has spent much of their lives, or are starting to now, in the field for possibly weeks or months at a time. And while I think, like many of you, I'm a field person at heart, this is a very demanding, grueling existence. And the time and amount of labor and resources that it takes to collect the data necessary to inform policy, we simply don't have that luxury of time much longer. And so really this was one of the realities as to why we launched XPRIZE Rainforest, a 5-year, $10 million competition aimed at incentivizing teams from around the world to come together and form collaborative solutions that can more rapidly, autonomously enhance the ability, the technologies at the disposal of everybody here to document and monitor biodiversity, and to develop insights in real time that can inform anyone about the health, the value, and the well-being of tropical forests. And to help when we're in the field doing all sorts of crazy things like this just to get to different field sites, so that we have technologies that can support and enhance. It's not intended for technology to be a silver bullet, but to aid us in this process. And so all of these images from different expeditions in tropical forests around the world with local and indigenous communities has focused, of course, on biodiversity monitoring, but how can we enhance the tools at our disposal when we're in these locations, whether it's in various communities, at various research stations, and we're all together, of course, collaborating in the field. So this is really the essence. And so many people here, I think, from different aspects of taxonomic research understand these realities of the hands-on nature of collecting these data. So with that, a lot of this is really the incentive behind our prize and integrating local and indigenous knowledge into the team's solutions. And I think a number of these people and organizations are probably here today who have worked on so many of these different projects around the world. In this process, I think one area of technology that has become quite ubiquitous over the years are certainly camera traps. I think many people in the audience here have been using cameras to monitor remotely different species, as well as GPS collars and things like that. And over the years, our ability to monitor species in different ways, including audio monitoring to detect bats at night or insects or birds during the daytime, as well as other applications of accessing different parts of the forest, climbing into the canopy to better understand the three-dimensional nature of tropical forests. And then bringing these types of technologies or methodologies to new levels. All of these technologies still remain very time and labor intensive. Of course, now drones have become a big item in many of our areas of research, and we're able to bring connectivity to new heights as well. So the way in which we're monitoring has certainly improved and advanced, but is it at the pace of the challenge that we're all facing? At the scale to be able to monitor these vast areas of our planet in order to support their protection. So that's what brought us to launching XPRIZE Rainforest in 2019. And of course, it was launched in the end of the year right before the pandemic, but we spent much of those early years recruiting teams from around the world with all of our advisors and partners, and ultimately recruited 300 teams from 70 countries. And within those 70 countries are many more are represented. And these teams embarked with us on quite a journey over the past few years, about as long as the organizing committee has been working to bring us all here today. And with us, we also had a judging panel that worked with us that you'll hear from a couple of them in a moment, but to take on the difficult responsibility of evaluating different technical submissions and proposals about these autonomous technologies and the ways in which teams are developing them, enhancing them, working in partnership with indigenous communities, and advancing only the most qualified teams along the way. Throughout this process, we needed to get to a checkpoint, to have teams test these technologies and prove how they work before they go to the finals of the whole competition 1 year from now. And to do that, we actually brought our teams to Singapore 2 months ago. Singapore does not have a vast area of rainforest like we're talking about, but they have a great mentality behind tech and innovation and biodiversity conservation. And so we worked with the country in many different ways to allow these teams from around the world to bring 80 different types of unmanned aerial vehicles into a country that has some of the strictest drone laws in the world, which required an insane amount of collaboration and partnership to make this all happen, to ultimately test the R&D of these innovative technologies that we hope will be scalable and applicable all over the world. And this entailed quite a few different measures that brought together an entire country. In this process, the Minister of National Development of Singapore established a whole interagency task force and secretariat comprised of their national parks, the Air Force, the civil aviation, various universities, and many other partners to really pull together to test the R&D and the performance of these technologies that had never been tested before anywhere in the world. And to me, while I've been amazed by the technologies that the teams have developed, I think that level of collaboration is a testament, and it should be a model in so many ways in the areas that we're all working to bring together and think outside of the box, and not only innovate solutions, but innovate collaborations. And so just 2 months ago, almost today, we kicked this off in Singapore, which involved 13 teams from around the world convening there, being briefed on all of the different ways in which they would have to test. We had to bring all of our judges to Singapore, and we also had to have a lot of drone safety measures to make sure that no drones got outside of the forest and things like that. But these teams had 24 hours to test these technologies and their performance around the clock. And I don't know if it stressed them out, but they had a clock ticking over those 24 hours. And the task was really to see how many species they're able to identify by not going into the forest, but by deploying these autonomous technologies and producing real-time results. And it was remarkable. I think like this Congress coming to fruition, being there and actually seeing these teams that we've been talking to on Zoom for years with come together and actually innovate these solutions across the rainforest was truly inspiring. And after we announce these teams in a moment, they'll have 1 year until the finals to really test those solutions in a much more challenging rainforest, and hopefully have those technologies adopted by organizations, researchers, and communities around the world, individuals like yourself who could benefit from these technologies. And so as we announce these, I do know that some of these teams are here today and throughout this week, so please congratulate them, and also learn more about what they're doing, and maybe you could form those partnerships as was mentioned. With this, there have been so many people to thank, of course, across all of the partners in Singapore and our XPRIZE team back at home, as well as our judges. We've had a great group of judges. These were our judges that came to our semifinals just 2 months ago, and I think last Monday deliberated and selected the teams that will be advancing. And so with that, it's my pleasure to invite 2 of our judges to the stage, Dr. Kevin Njabo from the Congo Basin Institute, and Dr. Luisa Arnedo from National Geographic. And so with this, we have the judging panel, represented by Luisa and Kevin, have selected the 6 teams that will advance to the finals next year. And overall, it's a $10 million prize. And there have been milestone prizes along the way to support these teams. The teams that advance today will be splitting $2 million to advance their technologies and to proceed to the finals next year, put those technologies to the ultimate test, and hopefully partner with all of you. And so with that, Luisa and Kevin are going to alternate. Each slide has, they're in alphabetical order, and we have the name of the team and just a quick image of them in the field and what they're testing. A lot of what they're testing, they still want to keep confidential in certain ways, so feel free to reach out to them, and maybe they'll also reach out to the SCB journals to publish some other results. So with that, who's going first?
I feel like in the Oscars, the winners come over. The first team is the Brazilian team.
The second team is Team Waponi.
Okay. The third finalist is Providence Plus.
Map of Life.
ETH BiodivX.
That's it. Those are the 6 teams, yeah. Welcome to the jungle. That's the last but not the least team.
And so with that, are any of our teams in the audience today? I know some are coming this week, maybe they're not here yet. To me, the innovations that these teams have developed are for the future to help us in sustaining biodiversity for today and tomorrow. And so with that, I want to congratulate all 6 of our teams and thank SCB and the ministry for this opportunity. Thank you.
Rainforest, XPRIZE is one of our Golden Monkey sponsors. Thank you so much for what you do. One very milestone in the life of SCB Africa section, region, is the official signing of partnership with the Africa Biodiversity Collaborative Group. Before we do that, let me give a little bit of historical perspective about the whole ceremony. I think a couple of years ago, Kevin and I, Tuyeni, who's also in the audience, one of our panelists and plenary speakers, and other collaborators, we were working on a paper to publish on engaging the Africans in diaspora with local experts. It was a special Africa issue in one of the SCB journals. And then I came across this white report from a USAID funded project on how to engage Africans in the diaspora in biodiversity conservation in their homeland. And that project was initiated or implemented by the Africa Biodiversity Collaborative Group. So I sent a cold email to the director then, asking about the work that was done. In fact, one of the recommendations of that project was to organize a biodiversity conference for Africans in the diaspora. And that was in 2012 or 2013. So I reached out to the director to find out, has anybody ever done this? They said no. So I said, well, SCB Africa section, we want to do it. And they gave us their blessing, they gave us their financial support, and we actually had the first ever Africa Diaspora Biodiversity Symposium last year in this same auditorium during the APAC Congress. It was a virtual event that was also held. It was a virtual event that was held also simultaneously during the North American Congress for Conservation Biology, which was held in Reno, Nevada. And after that symposium, we continued to have conversations with the Africa Biodiversity Collaborative Group, which, by the way, is made up of the African Wildlife Foundation, the World Wild Fund, WWF, Conservation International, the Wildlife Conservation Society, Jane Goodall Institute, World Resources Institute, and the Nature Conservancy. And so we continue to have this engagement with them. And after, when my tenure ended as the president of the region, I handed it over to my friend, who also continued that conversation. And today, you all are going to witness the official signing ceremony of partnership, formal partnership and networking with the Africa Biodiversity Collaborative Group. That is a milestone in the history of the SCB. It is a major milestone in the history of the society, and that's why I am so blessed, because when you're a leader, you want to hand over the leadership to a successor who is going to be reliable and continue the torch. And I'm so blessed and so grateful to have Mwezi Badru Mogawa, the president of the SCB Africa region, carry on the torch and making sure that this day comes to fruition. Thank you so much, my friend. I should also mention Badru, or Mwezi, is a PhD student, candidate, and also the chair of the steering committee for this meeting. He also has his own NGO, and then I keep asking myself, does he even sleep at all? Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I will also invite up here the executive director of ABCG, African Biodiversity Collaborative Group, Ms. Rubina James. While she's on her way here, I want to tell you an interesting story about her. When the predecessor handed over to her as the director, and I had a virtual meeting with her, it was one of the best meetings I've ever had in my life. She is full of energy, and her energy is infectious. She has amazing ideas, and she's a vibrant and radical voice for Africa. I can speak that from experience. She was in the diaspora for many decades, and she came back here, and she's been a voice for Africa. And that's why I said her energy is infectious. I mean, she's like Mama Africa. Come on stage. All right, I invite Badru Mwezi, representing SCB Africa region, and Ms. James over to the table there for the official signing of that partnership with ABCG. As you can see from the logo there are 7 logos representing the collaborative group for ABCG on the poster. So I'm so excited that SCB logo is going to join them. Thank you all so much for witnessing this occasion. This is a wonderful occasion in the history of SCB Africa region and happening also at the time when we're hosting the ICCB. So thank you so much for being part of this occasion. And again, I want to welcome you to Kigali, Rwanda. Welcome to Africa. We hope you enjoy your stay here. We hope you go out there into the wild and explore nature that you have spent so much time studying and doing data analysis on. You need to go out there and enjoy it as well. And with that, we come to the conclusion, to the close of the opening ceremony. And we want to continue having that conversation with networking. Yes, we are putting our money in our mouth. How do they say that? What's the English for that? Okay. All right. So we're going to be having a networking cocktail outside of this auditorium in the concourse. So as you make your way out of here, you turn left and go down into a flat area in the same compound where we're going to have a cocktail and networking. And again, as I said, make sure you break out of your shell. Make sure you break the ice. Don't give me that introvert excuse. Enjoy your time here.